Hello everyone, this is Wasim from Edureka and I welcome you all to this session in which I'm going to discuss a few Python projects. So let's quickly take a look at the agenda for this session. So what we are going to do here is we're going to begin with some basic Python projects first of all. So we're going to discuss at least 3 projects there. And then after that, we are going to discuss intermediate Python projects and we are going to finish or sum up our session with a few advanced level Python projects. So I hope you guys are clear with the agenda. Also, if you are new here guys, don't forget to subscribe to Edureka for more exciting tutorials and press the bell icon to get the latest updates on Edureka. And if you're looking for a certification program, the link is given in the description box below. Go check it out guys. We have exclusive offers for this month, so don't forget to check out the certification program. And also tell us in the comments guys, what do you think about Python programming and how do you think Python has helped you? If you are a beginner, tell us what are the difficulties that you are facing in your projects. If you are already well familiar with Python programming language, tell us about your experience in the comment section below. And if you're learning Python or making a project on Python, tell us what you want to cover in the next upcoming videos. So we're going to begin with the beginner level Python projects guys. In this particular section, the aim here is to get you to become familiar with the basic concepts that we have in Python, such as functions, classes, and like how you can build a logic around some particular task. Because when you'll be working on a project, a large scale project, most of it will be divided into smaller modules. And these modules that we'll be working on will have a lot of these basic structures, which will include functions, first of all, and there'll be a lot of classes, objects, and how you make instances, and all of those things, guys. So you must understand all these things. So this particular section will cover all those things. So the first project that we have over here is the guessing game in Python, guys. So this particular project is one of my favorite as a beginner. This was, one of those projects that you will learn and you will love it, guys. So what happens in this game is basically you have a lot of conditional statements and you get the input from the user, and after that you decide based on the input if the guess is correct or not. You can give them a bunch of chances as well. Here we make use of concepts like a random number generator, and of course we have conditional statements, and there'll be control statements like break and continue as well. So this is a very fun project, guys. Let's discuss the other 2 projects as well, and then we'll go to our PyCharm and we'll execute these projects. So the next project that I'll be talking about is the scientific calculator in Python. Now again, in this particular calculator program, most of you must be familiar with this concept where you create a bunch of functions for operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But most of us limit ourselves to those particular 4 functions only. What I want you to do is discover new things that you can do as a beginner. So what will happen here is we're going to use the NumPy. We'll be taking a look at all these scientific problems that we can solve using a calculator. The logic will be same, guys. We're going to have a lot of conditional statements. We'll be importing a library, of course. So we are going to learn how we can use that particular module for calculating the scientific problems, like calculating a sign of a number, or it could be anything else as well. We're not limiting ourselves to just those 4 operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we're going to be taking a look at other operations as well. And in the next, we are going to talk about pattern programs in Python. Now this here is one of my favorite, and as a beginner, it's a little challenging as well. If you do not understand the logic behind it, it's going to give you nightmares, guys. So this is also one of the things that I want you all to cover, because if you understand the logic here, it's going to help you a lot when you're working with loops in Python, guys. So basically we're going to use a lot of nested loops for this pattern programs in Python. So let's go to PyCharm, guys, and we'll take a look at all of these projects one by one. So if you don't know much about PyCharm, or if you're just beginning with Python programming language, guys, I will suggest you to install PyCharm. And if you need any guidance when installing PyCharm, we have a full tutorial on introduction to PyCharm, how you can use it, what are the features and everything. And if you are having any problems or difficulties installing PyCharm, you can post your queries on our Edureka community, where SMEs will help you, to tackle all your queries. So I have all these files already that I've made for all the projects that we're going to use in this particular session. So first of all, let's talk about our guessing game. So it's pretty easy, guys. Okay, so we're going to talk about the code one by one. So first of all, we have imported random and we have given it an alias R. So if you don't know how to import a statement also, you can just check out our Python tutorial where we have shown everything from start. So we are going to begin with this project, guys. So okay, I'll just add comments here as we go so that it's clear to you guys. All right. So we have imported the library. We're gonna call it library, or we can call it as module as well. Import the module, and after that we have a number, guys. So this number is basically going to be the number which our random generator will generate. So we have given it the range 100. So random range is one of the functions that we can use from the random module to generate a random number, and we can specify the range as well. So if I give it as 1000, we will have a random number between 0 and 1000. So I can give it the range 0 to 100, 0 to 10. I can give it steps as well. This is like a count variable, guys, which we have in most of the functions. If we are familiar with programming languages, this will be our count variable, guys. So this particular variable, while using in my program, I'm going to make sure that the value increments after each iteration. And for that purpose only, we have our while loop where we have the condition as soon as the guess value, or as long as the guess value is, I'm sorry guys, we are not going to increment, we are actually going to decrement the value. So this particular statement is there which says as long as guess value is greater than or is equal to 0, you go on with the loop. And as soon as it hits the value less than 0, it's going to come out of the loop, or the execution will stop. Now this is the point where I will get the input from the user. So I'm taking the input from the user in the integer data type, and after that we have a function, guys. So you see the hierarchy, guys, the kind of mixture that this program actually has. You're using a library, or let's call it a module. There you're using a function from that, the inbuilt function. Then you are using a loop, and inside the loop there is a function. So imagine as a beginner, so this particular project can help you build your logic around these projects, and it's a good thing to work with if you're starting out. A beginner project like the sort of this is a very good project to start with. Now after that we have a function which is basically checking. It has one parameter, this is x. So if my guess is equal to x, it will print you win. If my guess is greater than x, it will print you are close, but keep trying lower, right? Because the value is actually greater than x. Since your guess is greater than x, you have to keep trying lower. You have to go lower to predict, or to guess the number. Then again, same thing for the else statement. We have you're close, but keep going higher. Now if guess is greater than 1, we are going to call our function, pass the number there, and the number is the random generator over here, randomly generated number. If guess is equal to 1, we will check the number, and we are also going to remind the user this is your last chance, make the most of it. This is a fun part. You can just design it in your own ways. You can use a lot of functions, variables, everything. I've just kept it a little shorter and tried to add a little bit fun to it. Or else if everything is failed, you have exhausted all your chances, which is guess basically, because we are decrementing the value of the guess over here. So after each iteration, guess is becoming 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and after 0 we come out of the loop. Okay, so we'll just run this program, guys. I'm hoping you can see this. So I'm going to enter my guess, guys. Now we already have a random generator between 0 and 100. So let's guess 60, guys. Okay, it says you are close, keep trying lower. So this is my second chance, guys. So I have to make sure that I at least get the range correct. All right, so I'm going to write 40. It's telling me to keep going higher. Now my chances are pretty good, guys. So I have 20 numbers to guess from, so which is 40 to 60. So I'm going to go the ballpark here and write 55. Now it says you're close, keep trying lower. Now I have exhausted my 3 chances. This is my 4th chance. Now I've got to make this quick, and I'll just write 50, and it says keep trying lower. So the number is between 40 and 50, that's for sure. But this is my last chance. I'll write 45. All right, so I have one more chance actually. So we have used is equal to and that. So we get 6 chances, not 5. I'm sorry, guys, because we have used while guess is greater than and equal to 0. So that's why we're getting 6 chances. So now this says this is your last chance, make the most of it, and you are close, keep trying higher. Number is between 45 and 50. So my guess, let's say 48. Okay, I lost. Okay, guys, so I basically lost. But this is a very fun game that you can make using Python. And as you can see guys, we have not used a lot of coding over here as well. Basic functions, conditional statements that we have used. Now we're going to take a look at our next program guys. All right, so next program is our scientific calculator. I'll close this. Okay, let's make it a little bigger. All right, so first of all, I'm importing math library, which is an inbuilt module guys, and it's going to give us a lot of inbuilt functions to calculate the scientific operations. All right, so after that we have added a few functions, which is basically an adding function, subtract, and I'm sure this is quite easy to understand guys. We have two parameters a and b, which we are going to get when we call the function, and after that we return a plus b. Similarly for subtraction, we subtract the two parameters, then we multiply the two parameters, divide the two parameters, and after that we have square root. All right, so for this we use the math module that we have imported, and from that we use the square root function. So basically if we have a parameter, we can get the square root of that. And after that we have the exponentiation. It's easy guys, you can use the double asterisk value. We're just getting the square of the number over here because we're just using the value for the exponent is 2, so we're just basically calculating the square of the number. Then we have sine of a parameter using the math module, then we have cosine using the math module, and then we have the tan of the parameter using the math module. So that is all about our functions. So we have declared all the functions over here that we are going to include in our program or our calculator. So we're going to calculate subtraction, multiplication, division, addition. There is square root, square, sine, cosine, and tan. So now begins the fun part guys. So first of all, we will print or just get an input from the user so that we know what exactly he's trying to get. Right now, since we do not have a GUI for this user interface, we are doing it like that. And later on in the session, when we are discussing the advanced projects, I'm going to show you how to create a GUI calculator as well. So if you get the logic here, you will understand there as well. So first of all, we're just getting the input from the user so that we know what he wants. So we have given him a list of numbers that he can choose from. So if he chooses 6, we know that he is going to go for square root. But for doing that, we are going to have loop and conditional statements. If operation is less than 10, because we only have 10 values over there. So I have not used less than is equal to because we do not want to include 10 over here. Now after this, if operation is equal to 1, we have enter the parameters, we get the input from the user, then we give him the result, and similarly print the answer. For all the values or all the operations that we have in the scientific calculator, we have created a condition where we are getting the input from the user and then giving the answer. So what if the operation is something else? What if it's 10 guys? So we're not really coming out of the loop over here guys. I said the operation, if it goes above that particular number, we're going to come out of it, but we are having another condition over here guys. So we basically say choose another operation. Now we will have another input guys, so which will ask us, do you want to continue? It will say yes for 1 and no for 0. And if the new input that we are getting, if it's 1, we will enter the operation again. Otherwise, we will tell them that thanks for using this scientific calculator, and we're going to break out of the loop. Instead of this, what we could have done is we could have just incremented the value of the operation over there, and we would have just come out of the loop because the operation value would become more than 10. So let's just run this and see how it works guys. So we have to choose a number from the following operations. So let's go for the basic one. So we'll go for 1, addition. Right? It asks us to enter the parameters guys. So first I'll enter 10. Second one, let's say 20. It is giving us the answer, which is 30. Now it is asking me, do you want to continue? I will say yes. I'm going to enter the operation. So let's go for a little tricky one. So we'll get the square root. So we'll enter 144. Now guys, if you are good at math, you remember a little bit of elementary school, you will know that square root of 144 is equal to 12, and that's the value that we're getting. So our calculator is working perfectly fine guys. Now let's say if I say no over here, it will say thanks for using the scientific calculator. So this is a very simple example of making a calculator or a scientific calculator, and you can add as much operations as you want because you're just using these functions over here. So you can use a function of calculating a Fibonacci series, or you can include calculating the factorial of a number. You can include all the other functions that you can think of. Now we'll move on to the third project that we have, which is the patterns program, guys. And it's a little trickier. So first I'll just show you what the pattern looks like, and after that we'll take a look at the code. Okay, let's give it value 7. Alright, so I think it's visible to you guys. So we have a downward shaped pyramid, and below that there is a actual pyramid, and it looks like an hourglass shape kind of pattern using the asterisk values. So now let's go back here, a little back up, and I'll explain the code to you guys. We are not doing anything at all, guys. We're just using a function, and in that particular function we have nested loops. So first of all, we are taking this k value, which is very crucial, guys. I'll explain why. So first of all, we have the for I in range k, which is basically number over here. So let's talk numbers right now. So for I in range 7 to 0, and the step is -1. So for after each iteration, the value of k will become 1 lesser, which is 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, for after that, we have another loop which says for j in range k to 0 and -1 again. So we're printing a blank space over here. So instead of blank space, let's print a. And let's see what the output looks like. As you can see, guys, so we're starting with a, and then after each iteration, the value of a is increasing because we are increasing the value of k over here. Now after that, we have 2 more loops. Similarly, we have for j in range 0 to I. Now I here is basically the value over here. So I basically is the value over here in the first loop, and after that it's going from 0 to I. So similarly, it's just going to increase, and that's why we are printing the asterisk over here. So in this particular section, let's print b and see what the output looks like. So within each asterisk value, there is the letter B over there. So this is how our pattern looks like, guys. And if you want to learn about more patterns, how we can do them, you can check out our tutorial on Edureka, guys. It's pretty easy. You just have to understand the logic, why we are doing what we are doing. And for the downward pyramid, guys, or the normal pyramid, you just have to take the I in range 0 to number. And number now plays an important role, because this particular k that we had used over here, we are updating n here now. So the range will become k minus 1, because we want to start from 1, not from whatever value that we had taken in the beginning. So that is how our pattern programs are done, guys. I hope you understand this. Now what we'll do is we'll discuss a few intermediate programs, or the intermediate level Python projects. So the first one is drawing with turtle in Python. So it's a pretty fair or a pretty easy project that we're going to make. It's like using a particular library that we have in Python, and just drawing in a shape or an image or an emoji using that particular turtle module or library. So we'll discuss that on PyCharm. The next one we're going to make is make a web app using Python Flask. Now this is a little trickier. Even though the line of codes will be a lot lesser than you expect, you will have a web app, guys, a web API ready for you on your local server. So we'll discuss that as well. And the last one would be web browser automation using Selenium. So the intermediate level Python projects are a little bit aligned towards how we can use existing libraries to perform a certain task for us. That is how we are going to approach this intermediate level section. And now let's just go there and open turtle first of all. All right, so we'll close this. I forgot to tell you guys the pattern programs also, that the tutorial that we have on our YouTube channel actually has at least 15 patterns that you can learn from. There are a lot of patterns there with a similar code and the exact same logic. So you can go there and learn about it if it's a little trickier for you, because I know for a fact if you are a beginner, you're going to have a very tough time dealing with the pattern programs. So don't forget to check out the YouTube tutorial that we have on pattern programs if you find any difficulties. So now coming back to turtle, we're just going to import turtle over here. Now this particular object that we have created, this pen, is a very important one. So we're going to use this to execute a lot of things. Now we create a turtle window, which is basically the screen that we will have the canvas on. And after that, we use this pen fill color, which is yellow. Okay, I'll just show you guys. So we'll remove this now and let's run the program. So we have a window, all right, and we are drawing a circle. Now we will go back. I'll explain again. So we are using the fill color method to fill the yellow color, and it start filling in the particular section when we call this begin fill method. And after that, we drawing basically a circle. I'm sorry guys, I have written square over there. So a circle of side of, it's going to be radius r. So now we have our pen up for a reason. So I'll talk about this later on after we have executed the whole program, what this exactly does. And after that, we have, we're just going to a particular location on the canvas, and we are going to draw the circle over there with the radius 200. And similarly, after that, we have values for eye, basically how we create an eye in the canvas. It basically follows the same principle. We start filling the color, and we end the color fill with end fill. Between all that part, we have pen dot up, and we have pen dot down, we have pen dot go to a particular location in the canvas, and then we do our thing. So I'll just execute this. As you can see, we have pen up right now, we have a circle, we have pen down, there is a border over there, and we have, so this is a smiley that we have created using turtle, guys. So this is how we can use turtle for our benefit. So this is simple, guys. I've drawn two eyes. After that, you saw the black part of the eye that is also over there. You can choose the color from infill color, then begin fill. It's a pretty easy process, but you can innovate yourself into drawing out different emojis or shapes. It doesn't have to be an emoji all the time. You can create a lot of shapes or sizes. And if you are active on the internet, on YouTube and on other social media sites, you must have seen a lot of tutorials surrounding about how you can create Among Us, like the imposter, using turtle in Python. So you can try that as well. That's about the turtle program over here. Next up, we have web browser automation, guys. This is one of my favorite things in Python that we can use, which is web browser automation. It's simple, guys. We use the Selenium, and from there we import WebDriver. And after that, we have a class over here, and basically declare the driver in which we have the Chrome WebDriver. Now you may find it a little difficult for you to execute this program if you haven't installed the Chrome WebDriver properly, but I would suggest go to the website where you will find the compatible WebDriver, download it, and give the location wherever you have downloaded that, and you'll be fine, guys. You can just use it like that. After that, we have a function again, which is going to play music for us. You're getting the input from the user, which says enter a YouTuber name. After that, this is basically one of the functions that we are going to use, which is self.driver.get. So this is going to get to the URL that we are going to mention over here. And we have just this particular string that we have concatenated between the URL that we are getting from the user. This is the tricky part, guys. After you go to that URL, you can create a variable which is going to find the element by XPath. I'll explain once we execute the program. And after that, you can use that variable to click on it. So when you have found an element on the web page, you can click on it as well. So that's automation for you guys. And after that, we just create the object and use it to play the music. And since our function name is also play, I'll just say we execute the function, right? So let's execute the function. Okay, so we have our browser open. So this part is done. Now the program is asking us to enter a YouTuber name. Since we are going to play music on YouTube, you can use any other URL as well. And since we do not want to hurt anybody's sentiments, we are going to use our own YouTube channel. Play the video from there. Now let's go there and check. So we have opened our URL, and very first video that it found on the channel or the particular section, it has played for you guys. And that is how it works. All right, I forgot to tell you about the XPath. I'll just explain 1 second, guys. So let's write it as Edureka in again. So you must be wondering why I'm writing Edureka in over there, because when you go to youtube.com and search for our YouTube channel, the channel name is actually Edureka in. That's why I'm writing that. All right, I'll pause this. Since we're using a particular URL, what we could do is add a little more automation to this. Instead of going to the exact URL, you can go to youtube.com. After that, you can click on the search bar write the values there as well. And we have a Python automation tutorial as well. You can check it out. We have a similar type of project that we have done over there. And this is just to give you a brief about what you can do or cannot do. So we have stuck to, the basic functions of what we have over here. Yeah, so I was talking about find element by XPath. So let's just say we do Control Shift J, which is basically inspect element. And okay, let's maximize this. Now we hover onto any, the part of there. So let's say if I want to click on this particular button. So I have this div over here. So I right click on it and I'll copy the XPath. So we could just copy the XPath from over there and paste it over here to find the element, and we could click on it. So this is a little, the project, intermediate project to, start with Python automation. So that's all about the intermediate projects. The last one we have is the Flask app, guys, that I want to talk about. As you can see, guys, we have written the whole code of creating a web app in just 12 line of codes. Now you may say, or you may ask me, like, how we have just put this into our intermediate level project, because there are a lot of things that you have to consider over here. Since we are using the render template, there is a directory that we have created templates over here, and inside this we have text.html file. We have just used an image to keep it simple. What you can do is you can create the interface for your website, which will include HTML files, it will include CSS files, JavaScript files, a lot of images, a complete sitemap. But for starters, you're going to begin with this only. We have a static directory as well, which basically has an image of a dog, which we'll see on our web page. So now coming back to the program, okay, I'll just make it a little bigger for everyone to see. So from Flask, we import Flask and render template. So I could have just, returned any string as well. So we use the render template over here to pass our HTML template that we have created. And this function basically looks in the directory over here, which says templates. And if you put it anywhere else, you're going to have to face a lot of errors. So that is why I told you is even if it's written in such a few line of codes, it is quite important to understand the whole process. So if you do not really know much about how Flask is used, we have a tutorial which will basically guide you through how you can make a login system using Flask, where you will have a bunch of HTML templates. There'll be user authentication, user registration as well, and yeah, that's going to help you a lot. Now this is a very simple one, guys. So we have an app route, which is basically a URL, and this particular section of the code is used to run the app. Now let's just run this to see. So we have started our server. The web app is running on HTTP 127.0.0.1 and the port number is 5000. Let's click on it. Let's go there and see what's exactly over there. And we have the dog image that we have in our template, and we are using it using a render template function. So this is how easily you can create a web app using Flask. And Flask is basically used to create lightweight applications, so that this is why it is a little easier to create the web applications. But if you want to go for the fully fledged web application, including everything, Jinja templating, there'll be the databases, connections, everything. So for that, I will suggest you to go for Django. And if you want to learn about Django as well, we have a login system tutorial on Django on our YouTube channel as well. You can go and check it out there. Alright guys, so let's move on to the next section of our tutorial over here, which is the advanced level Python projects. So in this particular section, we have a GUI calculator using tkinter. So basically what happens here is we are creating a GUI applications, and GUI is basically graphical user interface. So whatever that we did in the scientific calculator, we are going to put it into a user interface so that you can interact with it. You can click on buttons and get the values, something similar to that. And we're not going to use the scientific buttons. I'll keep that for you to add to your calculator. I'm just going to stick to the basic functions. All right. So that's about it. And in the next project, we're going to talk about the speech recognition and speech to text. So for this, we have two basically, very important libraries that we're going to use, which is speech recognition and PyTTSX3 with PyAudio. And we're going to create another Python environment for this, because I'll explain when we get there. And the next one is the object detection using OpenCV. So I'm not just going to explain this here. Let's just go to PyCharm, guys. These are very interesting projects that we have created. Alright guys, I forgot to close down the server. First, let's close the browser. And to close the server, you just stop the program. Now the server is stopped. And we are working on a Python API tutorial, so you'll see how we can make request to an API that we just created. All right, so I'll close this and we'll open the GUI calculator first. Okay, this might intimidate you a little, but it's very easy, guys, don't worry. So first of all, what you want to do is create a window again, because we need a window for executing our GUI logic. So we have given the title as well. First of all, we imported the TK into library, and after that we have created a instance where we have imported this TK function basically, and we are using this object for using various functions that it comes with. Now we have title, and this entry widget is the one thing that will have all the values for display, where you can see what you are entering, what you want in your input and output. And after that, we have created this particular widget into a grid where we have taken the column span is equal to 4. So I'm not going to discuss the syntax part of it exactly, because you can check it out later on in one of our tutorials. I'm going to stick to the execution part, guys. Basically, these functions will come back to them later. After the text widget, basically, the entry where we can give the values, we have created a lot of buttons, guys. So these are the buttons. All right, so let's create a space over here so that you know that these are different, buttons. So I'll explain it with one button and you'll understand what we're doing. So we have the first button, which we've given the height and width. This command is very important, guys. So this will tell your button what to do in case it is clicked. So we're using lambda function over here because we cannot just pass arguments over here without the lambda function. And we are using onClick function over here with the value 1. Why 1? Because the label that we are using on this particular button is 1. Now let's see the onClick function. All right, onClick function is over here. So first of all, the onClick function will get whatever value is there inside the entry, and it will delete all the values from there and insert the value with concatenation over there where we have got the number from. And if you don't do this, you're going to face a lot of errors. So that's why I've written down all the logic for it. So we do this for every button that we have for numbers, of course. Now, if we want to calculate something, right? So for calculation, we have is equal to, we'll get there. For that, we have used another function instead of onClick. We have equal or calculate, I guess. Yes, this is calculate that we have used. This calculate is basically going to calculate whatever number that we have put inside the calculator. Then this multiplication, addition, subtraction is basically going to give a global variable to all these the operations, that the calculate can basically distinguish which one is from what, because it doesn't know where the number is coming from. And we have a clear button which is basically doing nothing. So we have used the lambda button over here to use the delete function for whatever value there is inside that particular entry widget will be deleted, and main loop so that it keeps running. Right, so we execute the program. This is what the widget looks like, or this is what the GUI calculator looks like. So we have all these numbers 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. This division is equal to clear, multiplication, subtraction, and addition. In the entry widget, I can type numbers, but I'm going to take these values from the buttons over here. So I'll just write 1 4 2 minus. So when I clicked on minus, all the values are gone. That is very important to do that, because unless you don't do that, there will be a lot of anomalies in your project. And since this is a very beginner level GUI project, you'll be intimidated by just looking at the code that you've written. You may miss out on a few errors. So you just want to keep your code a little tidier than what I have written. So keep in mind to not make that mistake. Now we are going to subtract, let's say 36, and let's get the answer. Alright guys, so we are not getting the output. Let's check for an addition operator and we'll see if we're getting the output at all. So we are getting the output, but it's just that we're not getting it for subtract. So let's see what the error is. Okay, the label here is subtract, and over here, okay, we have got the error, guys. Now we'll run it again. Right, so now our number was, let's say 142 minus 36 is equal to 106. Right, so similarly you can work it out for much more operations that you can think of. You just need to get the functions right, or where we are calling a function. That's all about it. It's very easy, guys. Designing anything with TK Inter. Actually, there is one more framework that we can use to create GUI applications, that is Kiwi framework. So if you want to know more about it, we have a blog on it. You can check it out, guys. Right, so I'm just going to close this and open the next project that we have, which is speech recognition. Okay, we are going to do the speech recognition in the end because we've done that in separate project. We are going to do the pedestrian detection, guys. So let's just stick to the execution part. If you want to know how OpenCV works, how it reads an image, and how you can, how a computer basically reads an image, you can check it out on one of our tutorials we have on OpenCV. It can explain everything that you need to know. For now, we're just going to stick to the execution. So first of all, we import OpenCV, which is basically CV2, and make sure, okay, I'm sorry guys, I forgot to tell you all these libraries that we are using, these are not built-in libraries. You have to go to the file and you have to install all these libraries in using Project Interpreter, or you can use the terminal with pip install as well. So I've just created, an object over here, which is nothing but a video stream. We have given it a video for the streaming purpose. Other than that, if you write 0 over here, it's going to use the webcam as the source of video stream, guys. So if you want to do this in real time, you can use your own webcam, and instead of any video file, you can just write 0 over there. So after that, we have this cascade classifier, guys. What we have over here is we are using the cascade classifier to detect only the pedestrians, which has the har cascade file for har cascade fullbody.xml. This you can find on the OpenCV official documentation or on the GitHub repository that it comes with. Or when you download the OpenCV, you will get to know how it's done, guys. And if you are having any problems, you can mention the query on Edureka community. Will help you to download and set up OpenCV on your system, guys. Alright, after that, we are using a while loop because for every frame in a video, it is treated as an image. So in order to view it as a video, we're going to have to loop over all these frames that we get from the video stream. Now we have another variable, success and frame, which is basically reading the frame from the video stream that we have created. And if it's a success, it will keep on going. And if it's not, it will come out of the loop. We have frame over here, which we are just converting into grayscale image so that the detection becomes better. Because if you give the classifier something with less number of values, all right, because in a grayscale image the number of values are less than in a RGB image, so that is why we create or convert it into a grayscale image. And after that, we have faces from over there. We have written it as faces, but it's basically going to extract the ROI from the particular frame. For each frame, all the ROIs will be extracted. What we want to do here now is we want to basically surround the ROI with a rectangle so that we know we have detected it or not. So for that, we have taken this for loop where we have the coordinates in the ROI, and we are using it to create the rectangle over it. And if you want to check how it's done, you can just go to the official documentation and find out how we use the cv2.rectangle method. There you will find that you have to give the location of the image, and after that you have to give the coordinates, the color of your rectangle, and that's how it's done, guys. Now after that, we are using the IAMShow method to basically show the frame, and we have a wait key in order to kill or just stop the execution and come out of the video stream. If you don't do this, the video stream will go on forever and you will have to stop the kernel to stop that. And then we have cap.release. As soon as it gets out of the the loop, it will just release the video stream, meaning that it will just stop the stream and destroy all the windows. So let's just run this. So this is the video, guys, and since we are using har cascade, the detection accuracy might not be the perfect one because this is a very basic technique to detect objects in an image or a file or a video file, but it does the job to just get a perspective of how it's able to detect pedestrians. Basically anybody with a full body structure is getting detected in this particular frame. So this is how we can do object detection using OpenCV. This is basically a part of machine learning. This is a part of deep learning, guys. You can see, guys, how we have just created an object detection model using only 27 line of codes. So this is the beauty about Python, guys. If you understand the concepts properly, you can do anything with Python. And now for the last project that we have, we are going to go to another project that I've created. Why I have done this is because there is a dependency over here which cannot be, fulfilled in the environment that we had created on that particular project, because we could do that, but we'll have to go for unofficial bindings, and I didn't want to do that. So I changed the virtual environment to Conda environment. And in Anaconda, we can actually install Pi audio, which will be needed for this particular project. And after that, we can import the speech recognition and PyTT-SX3 for speech to text and text to speech. So first of all, let me just run this program to see what it does. Then I'll explain what I've done over here. I'm good. Yes. All right, guys. So this particular project is just giving us a few inputs, input values to give as a user in the form of speech, which it recognizes, and we print the value over here. This is unknown value because it was not able to listen to what I had said. And then again, in the second time, it actually recognized what I had said and gave the value as yes. Now, two things here. First is the program is, just creating the text to a voice. So how it is doing that is basically how PyTD-SX3 works. You can change the voice as well. So we have created a Jarvis tutorial on our YouTube channel. You can check it out to understand, the depth of how this can really go. But this is a very basic one. We're just getting inputs, trying to listen to what the program has to say, and then using that particular input that we have created into just playing a video for us using, of course, we have used the web browser automation that we have done in the earlier section of our this session. All right, so we're creating a recognizer class. This basically recognizes the voice over here, and we use microphone, sr.microphone, and this is where our Pi audio takes place. And yeah, guys, this is basically how you can just write a program to listen to a voice, just recognize it using speech recognition. And if you go to the documentation pages of speech recognition and PyTD-SX3, exact same code would be found over there, because this is the most basic thing that you can do with these two libraries. This is just the very basic thing that you could do. I've just added a part where I've automated something, so that's one thing, but other than that, it's very easy, guys. So when we take a look at that, we have imported the two libraries, Selenium for basically web browser automation. We have created an instance over there. So with sr.microphone as source, so we have chosen the microphone as source over here. And after that, we are using the recognizer class for, adjusting the ambient noise in the source. And after that, it asks us, hello, Saya, how are you today? This is basically happening because I have over here the engine. Okay, I can get rid of this. So we have an engine over here, which basically is asking us, hello, sir, how are you today? This is happening because I have created PyTD-SX3 as P and using the init to create the engine. And using the engine, I'm just telling my program to say something, and I've just given the plain text over there. You can just write anything over there and it will read as it is. I think the PyTD-SX3 comes with different languages as well, for Spanish or for French as well. So you can just write hola and other things to check if it's doing or not. So we are going to write hola and we'll write senor. So we'll see if it recognizes Spanish or not. And let's change this as well. Say, all right. So after this, we run and wait. And during this time, we get the input from the audio. So the audio that it has, calculated, it's going to listen to the source and basically put this inside the audio variable. And after that, we have to try and accept blocks. So if it's some value, it's going to give us the text, whatever we have spoken to in the microphone. And recognize Google basically is converting the audio to text. So two things here. First, we are using the recognizer. Recognizer is basically adjusting the noise, listening to the source, and converting the speech to audio. But we are using the microphone to listen to the source. I mean, it's basically the source over there. So that's how we're doing it. And if it does not, if there's an error at all, it's going to give us the value as unknown value or request error. After that, we have created another, block where we have used similar logic. And this is how we have done it. So let's see if our model, it's basically saying the exact same words, but they might be a different, I would not. See, even if you say no, I have used it, little trick to, just bypass everything and play the video anyway. I would suggest you to do that as well. We have a lot of tutorials on Python, and these are just a few projects that you can do. or you can just perform with Python. But if you really want to learn Python more, so like this, we have a Python full course, this particular tutorial, the whole playlist that we have created over here, meta classes there, linked list in Python. And if some of you are aware of how list data structures work in Python, I'm pretty sure most of you must not be aware of how we can use a linked list in Python, how stacks and queues are implemented in Python. So we have a lot of tutorials that you can see. We have CGI programming as well. There's predictive analysis, Python strings tutorial. And with this, actually, we have come to the end of the session, guys. And if you have any questions, you can mention them in the comment section below, or you can post your queries on Edureka community to get the quick responses from the SMEs. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and press the bell icon to get the latest updates on Edureka. And if you like this session, press like. And if you're looking for a Python certification, the link is given in the description box below. You can check it out, guys. If you want us to cover anything specific that you want, or if we can help you with some project as well. As you can see, we have these projects like PUBG data science tutorial, where we have done the, there's data extraction, pandas tutorial. So you'll find a lot of stuff in our Python playlist. And this is just like the tip of the iceberg. We have a lot of tutorials that you can choose from. Not just Python, we work on different technologies as well. So make sure you give it a go and check out other tutorials as well. So thanks a lot, guys. See you guys in another session. Happy learning.
I hope you have enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!